Going to Shane Geiger, who I appreciate holding. Shane just popped by and said, can I say I'm an InfoWars freelance reporter? We said, sure. They called and checked with NIST that he really was going. They had their little meeting. He got his question out, and they shut him down. So just giving some background, Shane Geiger, tell listeners what happened, where this was, how you got the question in, and what happened.
Hi, Alex. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I was basically making some statements that were backed up. I mean, this is fact. I was just stating what had been in the Twin Towers report, and then I stated some things about the back and forth between the Stephen Jones camp and NIST. Stephen Jones did a Data Quality Assurance Act request, and NIST replied back in September of 2007 stating that they are unable to provide a full explanation of the total collapse, and they also stated that they did not conduct tests for explosive residues.
Yeah, they won't do mathematic equations. They'll just show us video computer composites that any 14-year-old with a case of Hot Pockets and Jolt Cola could make.
Right. So this should sound very familiar to NIST because they were involved in this back and forth, and yet this was at the point in my questioning where I was basically shut down. And I had a few other things I tried to get out after that. I'm very interested in the scientific method being applied to the research of all the 9/11 truthers and the other people who are looking.
Well, describe where this was, how you were able to get this sound. I mean, tell us the locale. Tell us what it was like. Tell us, you were there.
Yeah, we were in this 11-story nondescript building on the NIST campus. Glad it didn't collapse on us. It probably would have collapsed in about 2 or 3 seconds.
Well, if somebody would have put a Bic lighter up against it, up to steel column, it's perfect.
Yeah, well, it was just kind of surreal. I was there among reporters from the AP, New York Times, Fox, the ZDF, which is the second station in Germany. I was actually talking after the event with somebody who's involved in the making of the third tower. So he's working with Mike Rudin of the BBC. So I got a lot of. It was really great to get some media contacts. Thanks so much for that, Alex. And I was surrounded by all these people who, obviously have an axe to grind. These people were sort of standoffish and it was not really a friendly environment. In fact, I think it was somewhat telling that as soon as I started calling NIST on these bare assertions, the lights actually went out in the room. So it felt a little unfriendly from that second on, and the microphone started moving away from me as I was. This was just totally ridiculous. I travel halfway across the country to ask questions, and I have to show up under the pretext of being a reporter when it's not enough to be a concerned U.S. citizen to show up here.
Well, you are an InfoWars reporter, and you did a great job. Now, Bermas, you've been analyzing this. You've seen what happened. They're also backing away from their lie, because we have the video. The front of the building has some windows knocked out, but they say in their report a third of the building knocked out on the front.
That's the south face, actually.
Yeah.
The south face of the building, and we have the videos where there's a few windows blown out, but we obviously see the guy walk into the building and then go up the escalator into the main lobby. So there's not, well, I believe what they said was a quarter of the building, or somewhere between 10 and 12 stories, scooped out of the building. Well, their new model has no scoop out, and they don't even claim.
So no new lies for old.
Yeah, there's no scoop out. They don't even mention the quote-unquote scoop out, so they've retracted that statement. Now they're also saying it wasn't the fuel oil tanks, and they're also saying, it's unbelievable what this actually comes clean.
Elves?
Well, they're saying that although no other building has even come close to this kind of structural damage, I guess, from hundreds of degrees less than known fires, that's what did it. It was the thermal expansion of columns located near the center of the building. They're also claiming that that's why the rooftop, the line, falls first. Okay, and then they say the facade falls with it. Now, they say in the very beginning that they did test for explosives, but later in the press conference they backtrack, and Shane, I believe, is the one that talked about this. They backtracked and said, oh, well, we never even considered thermite. It's just such a ludicrous hypothesis that we never tested for it.
Of course, the NIST guys all happen to be top experts in explosive thermite when no one else is. It just so happens they're top experts.
Yeah, and, again, the molten metal is never addressed. It's not addressed in this. And now they're making it into a standards issue and saying that skyscrapers need to reevaluate how they've been built. I mean, it's a total lie. I mean,
plus this thing had a special bunker built inside of it to withstand nuclear attacks, but it magically, you put a big lighter to it, it just collapsed.
Hey, you know what's really upsetting is that, again, this was New York's #1 spook house, located in the center of Manhattan, largest CIA base outside of Langley, Virginia, FBI, largest Secret Service office in the world,
armored bunker, and
the Office of Emergency Management.
But now if a building has a small fire, it's falling. I mean, it's over.
Well, the Office of Emergency Management was also hooked into the Pentagon 24/7. We show that in Fabled Enemies, and it had blueprints of every single building in New York City. And in Fabled Enemies, we show you how immediately after the building collapsed, the FBI set up teams with binoculars watching the rescue workers to make sure they didn't take anything out of that building that was incriminating.
Now, Jason, I want you to set up InfoWars reporter Shane Geiger for 30 minutes tomorrow. You're sitting in for me as I get ready to go to Denver. We need to go to Professor Francis A. Boyle here in just a moment. Do we have him?
Yes, he's all set.
Okay, good. I don't want to make him hold anymore. We just got overbooked today, and his information is so important. Shane, let me set you up because you went to this NIST report for 30 minutes tomorrow, at least with Jason. So let me have Trey and Jason right now call you and get that set up. Thank you, Jason Bermas, for that information.
Thank you.
All right, this is a very, very serious issue. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I was screwing around earlier here in the studio, but Jason's about to leave town. Been with us for 5 months, so we're just having some fun. Very, very dark times, very, very serious things that we are dealing with here. Thank you, Shane Geiger.